Hello and welcome back to the studio in sunny Wales, where we paint away the stress of everyday life, but unfortunately it's raining today. So I thought we'd do a little landscape today. I thought we'll change things up from those multi-coloured paintings that I've been doing lately. So I just want to ask you one question. Did you bring my tea? Oh, thank you very much. Can't paint without tea. And on that note, let's have a look at the palette. So we've got some range of colours there today, a lot more than normal. I've got some ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, some medium yellow, some yellow ochre, some hooker's green. I've got some burnt umber, some raw sienna, and I think that's raw sienna, it is. Burnt sienna, sorry. I got some Mars black, some white. I got some permanent alizarin crimson, and I got some red. I got a little bit of medium mix, which you can buy on the website if you want to pop along to there. That just helps with the underbinding, and I use that a lot in my paintings. And I've just got some plain old boiled, cooled tap water. There we go. And what canvas am I working on today? That is a good question, because it's quite a big one, because I haven't got any small ones left. So it's a 20 by 16 or 16 by 20, depending where you live in the country. And as you can see, I haven't even bothered putting a ground on that today, so I thought we'll do that straight away. Now I'm in the mind of doing just basically make a blue ground or something. Now the reason I do that is because it helps with the sky. It also helps with the underlining colour, because I want a bit of blue that's coming in down here to represent the sky. I haven't quite decided where that's going to be yet. So. And I just want to help the cameras with the exposures. So I'm just going to get some cerulean blue and a little bit of medium mix. And today I'm just going to very quickly, just put a ground over my canvas like this. And as you can see, it's quite a thin layer. Now, because I've gessoed the canvas, it's had 3 coats of gesso. You can get away with 2. I put 3 on it because that's what I prefer. The reason we do that is because when you buy these canvas boards, or any canvases in fact, they are coated with a primer, but they're not gessoed. So don't think that they are, unless they state on the back. Read the little labels on the back, and it'll tell you whether it's got gesso on there or it's a primer. If it's a primer, then it's ideal for oil paints, but not so good for acrylics. So you need to put a gesso on there, because what that does, it adds a little bit of tooth to the canvas, a little bit of grittiness, and allows our paint to actually bind into the gesso, and the acrylic paint will stick a lot better and flow a lot better as well. So I'm just going to continue to do that. Got a few reference photographs. I want to work out a few planes. Now a plane is basically not something that flies through the sky. it's a line, is a plane line. So we say it's got the horizon line then, and there's another line then which things are on, which is another plane, and we've got several planes. I'll explain to you. It's easy for me to show you rather than explain to you, because my brain doesn't work so well these days, and I can fumble a lot. So I got to decide where this sky is going to come, and I normally got little tiny markers when I'm videoing. So I'm going to go up 9 inches there. If you look very closely, sometimes you'll see little pencil marks on my canvases, or even on my backboard like that. And I know roughly where lines are. So it saves me doing all this. It's just pre-planning, basically. So there's the horizon line. That is my main line. Is the horizon line. It should be straight. It might not look straight on the camera, because the camera's on a slight angle, and I'm painting on an angle, so it's a bit awkward. But the cameras are on a slight angle because they can't film straight on, otherwise it'd be in front of me. That's another problem I've got. Now I want another plane line. I want another line coming in, and these are just guides for me. I got another line coming in, maybe around about the 7.5 inch mark there, and I'm just going to continue doing that. and I'll explain a little bit more as I progress, because this could be like quite a long lesson. So there's my main lines. They don't have to be perfect. You don't need to just go straight onto a canvas and paint like the great old Bob Ross. You can do little sketches and things if you want to. There's no law really saying you can't do that. I'm going to have a focal point roughly there, and that's going to go over to there maybe. So that's going to be my drawing in line, which is going to take you back up. I'm going to have some possible tree shapes in the background like that, and they're going to fade off over there. And then this other line, then so that's a field. Imagine that being like a rolling field in there now. So we got a bit of a dip in this field there like that. So this gate is going to draw your eye through, and we got a hedgerow then again. So this is another field. That's one field, and this is another field. So we got a hedgerow then coming up a bit like this. We'll play around with the shapes when we get there, but that's going to have a little dip as well. There we got a little dip in there, and then it's going to come back up like that. So what's happening is we're drawing the eye into this point there, because we got the dip in the field, which is drawing your eye towards the low point in these trees. You got another little dip there. There could be a possible gate or something here, which is, and then there's a road coming out like that. So this is going to draw you into that central point, and that's what it's all about really. So we're going to have some trees and things coming up here like this. We might have a big almighty tree shape coming in here, something like that. That's going to come around there. We got some bushes and things all in here, and we got another tree shape maybe there coming down like that, and we got grasses and maybe flowers or something. So I don't know if that makes any sense. But don't be afraid. Get a sketchbook and do some sketches and work from there. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be able to draw to do rough sketches like this. And I'll put some up on the screen that Jason and I did, and it'll explain things a little bit better for you. But you just need guidelines really. If you don't want to go straight onto a blank canvas, then just use guidelines. Okay, I think this is going to be quite a long lesson. Who minds? I don't mind. Got all day today to paint, and I'm quite enjoying myself. So, do I pick up a small short flat, or do I pick up a slightly larger short flat? I don't know. I haven't decided. Sometimes we'll just go for this. So I'm going to mix some cerulean blue and a little bit of ultramarine blue together. That's the only reason that ultramarine blue is there, is to give me a nice dark colour. I'm going to bring some white to that. Oh, it looks nice, doesn't it? And I'm just going to splotch this on like this. Now, if you want acrylics dry normally 2 shades darker. So bear that in mind. And I've said this before on a few other lessons, but people still ask me the question: why does my painting dry darker? Yeah, that's the reason. That is certainly the reason. So bear that in mind. And just get some sky in, and then just be loose. Blend these colours together. And we've had some wonderful blue skies around Wales lately. I'm not going to cover the whole thing because I got loads of trees and things like that, but there's going to be breaks in the trees that I'm going to put on there. So we need to bear that in mind, because obviously there's going to be little gaps in the leaves and things like that, and we want a little bit of blue to show through. Now you don't want this paint too thin, but you want it to be able to maneuver around the canvas a little bit. So work in little sections, and when you leave a section, make sure you leave a nice fluffy line like that. Don't leave a sharp line because it'll show through. And don't be afraid just to pick up paint and mix it into the, we're not going to have many clouds in this sky. If anything, it's going to be quite misty, because it was a lovely misty day down in Colwynson, which is a village not far from where I live in Wales, and it's a lovely picturesque village, and I'll put a few photographs up, and that's where I go, and I clean windows down there. And some days when the sun is right in the sky, and it's a lovely day, the sheep are there, and the cows are playing in the field, and if cows play, and it was a lovely day. And a couple of hours before that, and this shows you that how the weather changes so dramatically. It was so misty and murky, and it was a really lovely warm day, a nice sunny summer's day, really. I want a bit more light down there. So I got a bit of ultramarine blue. My ultramarine blue is bordering on the warm side of the blue, so it's got a bit of warmth to it. And the cerulean blue is a bit too much on there then. The cerulean blue is a colder blue, so you've got the mixture of warmth and cool colours, and I like those. I like that blend of blue. Now I actually make a Cumtaff blue, which is available on the website, and it's a handmade paint. All my paints are handmade in the studio by myself. They're mixed by hand, and they're packaged by hand, and they're checked before they're dispatched. So and that's what I use in my own personal paintings, and you know, I quite like those colours. And if you want to try them, please do that anyway. So when I'm painting on my own, I'm normally listening to the music, and right, so all I'm doing is continuing to build in this sky. Blue skies. It looks like a nice warm sunny day. I'm going to put a bit more white into this sky on the next layer. I want to come down. I still want a little bit of blue in there, and I'm not rushing this today. I want to make this a nice painting today. So if it's a little bit lengthy video, then I do apologise, but I want to do a longer videos for the moment, and then we'll go back to do some quick lessons. But I think it's important that you see the whole process. And the most difficult part of this painting for me is to talk through it. Although I do talk pretty well, and most Welsh people do, and but it's it's quite hard actually trying to paint and think of something to talk about. So. There we are. We just enjoy this lovely day today. Well, it's not so lovely out there. It's a bit of rain out there actually today. That's why I'm in the studio. But don't think you'll hear Molly barking too much today, because it's raining, and might hear the odd seagull or cat running across the studio roof, which is normal. And I do love Boo. But I want to take you through the whole process of the painting, because a lot of videos that I've seen speed them up, don't explain very much, and you know, you can bypass certain sections. All you got to do is press the iPad or your iPhone, or just zip along a couple of minutes if you wanted to. Hey, do it if you want to. If you want to see the whole process, then I suggest that you just stick with it for a bit. I'm going to put a bit of blue down here, maybe down there somewhere. It's not water. That's not water. That's just Hey, it could be water actually, couldn't it? Could be a reflection of the sky in a puddle or something. That's a good idea. Don't know how I'm going to do that, but we'll work on it. I just put that there so I know where I am. Okay, am I happy with that? I think I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit more blue down to that line. Because I got trees, distant trees and things to put in there. I think it'll be nice if we increase that. And some of that blue then will actually come through there. I did avoid that originally, but I thought, well, as you paint, you start to see things, and don't be afraid to change things. If you were going off a reference photograph and there's a big tree there or something, you think, oh, I don't really like that. If it wasn't for that tree, it'd be a really good painting. Well, don't paint the tree, and it's artist license at the end of the day, and we all do it. And if anybody tells you that they don't do that, then they may be fibbing to you. Yes, fibbing. Or lying. Well, I wouldn't say lie. They may be just stretching the truth just a little bit. There we go. So I'm just going to wash that brush. I'm going to give this a quick dry with a hairdryer now. And I'll show you another thing that I normally do then. Well, I hope that's dry enough, because what I'm about to do might not work and you might get paint lift. And if that's the case, I suggest you make sure it's really, really dry. And I am on a little bit of a time scale. As much as I say I'm not, I am trying to get it done reasonably within a certain time limit. So I'm gonna find myself a nice soft black brush. I'm going to use one of these blending brushes that you can pick up on the website, and basically I'm just going to get some medium mix and just wet in my brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of that blue. It's a very, very thin glaze of colour, and what I'm doing is I'm just softening down that sky a touch with just a little bit of blue. You don't have to do this. This is just me. This is just what I do. This is the way I paint. And that medium mix is not going to underbind this paint. It's not going to cause these layers to peel and flake. And if you're doing a painting to keep, what I always do, always do, is what I actually do is, did I say that? Did I say that out loud? I did. What I normally do is I varnish it anyway. So what that's going to do is going to seal those layers in place. So I'm just basically softening off the sky with just a little bit of blue like that. And I don't normally do this on the lessons, but I thought, as I said earlier, I want to take you through the full process that how I paint. And this is it's going to be a little bit quicker than normal for me, but nevertheless, you're going to get the idea. Picked up a little bit of white just to mist down the bottom there like that. So if you've gone in a little bit dark, then you can wait for that to dry really, really well, and you can buy some zinc mixing white. In actual fact, this particular one is with System 3 by Dale and Roney, and that's less opaque than titanium white. So if you're going to use titanium white, be very, very careful, because what happens is, I put that on a bit thick then. What happens is that titanium white is going to obliterate rather than just create a mist. So we want a little misty look down there like that, and we'll do that again in another layer. Again, I'm just going to dry that off then with a hairdryer, and just wash that brush because I don't want that to dry. You can use a women's makeup brush if you want to. That could help. Yeah, that works really well actually. That should be okay, I think. So I'm just gonna, before I do anything, I got a small selection of brushes there. I meant to mention them, but I forgot. One of my little foliage brushes, that might work. So I'm gonna get an old paintbrush which I can use for mixing. This is just for mixing purposes. So I'm going to a little bit of Hooker's green. I get some cerulean blue to that. So I want to make it really, really blue. Bring some white to it. Oh, look at that. It looks like a chromium green. There we are. Looks like a chromium green, that does. I was using that in my own portrait. Now it's a bit bright, so we need to blue that off. It's a bit dark. Let's put a bit of ultramarine blue to it. And a bit more white. What a nice light blue colour. Ish. Like I said, with the zinc mixing white, if this is a little bit bright, we'll knock it back. So I'm just stippling my brush like that, just on the very tips of that, and I mustn't forget that dip. Where's that dip? Mustn't forget that dip there. I'm just gonna put in some little tiny flecks like this. I think there's a little hedgerow or something going on there. Very, very light stipple effect. Nicely done. A little bit of a rise there just to bring the eye into there. I'm not going to go along there because I've got trees and things to go in here. So I'm going to get a little bit more ultramarine blue now to that one side. And I'm just going to go in with a little bit more of that just to give it a little bit of a blue shadowy effect like this. Don't worry about that. Just put a little bit of colour in there so we can move in. We're going to be moving in a field shortly. There we are. How's that look? Stand back and have a look. Well, maybe let's get a little bit more white. Same brush, same effect, same technique, just stippling that brush in. Just bring in a little bit of highlight. And just bring those little tree shapes together. Very distant. There's no detail in these things. It's just blocks of colour, just little minute bits of colour. There's no. Where's the light? It could be anywhere. You know, it might be coming this way. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. Doesn't matter. There we go. The light would be. If there was a tree here, it would be catching the light different to those anyway. So there you go. And put that in there, and I'm going to dry that off again. A lot of drying today. Did a lot of drying. I should have washed my hair. I could have dried my hair when I was out here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get this field in place before I knock that back, like I said to you, with that zinc mixing white. So I'm going to try and get that field in place now, and I just put my brush in white paint. Oh dear. Okay, let's put that in there. I'm going to get a small short flat. I'm going to look at yellow now. I'm going to bring some yellow over. And maybe a little bit of this green, is it? Only quite a light blue green. Let's get a little bit of blue in it. A bit dark. A bit more blue. And play around mixing colours. Don't be afraid of mixing. The worst thing you can do when you're mixing paints is make mud. And you could come up with some lovely colours, mud. You can come up with some lovely colours of mud. You certainly can. And you'll think, well, that's a nice brown. I might keep that. There's no worse things can happen. There's worse things that can happen. So let's just put some green in. Like this. I'm painting with my brain brush this way because I don't want to get my big head in the camera. I'm watching my monitor as well, so I'm trying to decide the best look for this ground. I want a little bit of a rise there. And we got some nice rolling grass shaped things, fields. I'll show you. I'll have to show you. I'll take a few photographs and put them on the screen for you. And I'll show you what I mean, because you think, well, fields don't look like that. Well, they might not look like that where you live, but they do look like that where I live. I talk too much now and I've lost my... Let's get a bit dark green there. Should have put some rolling Welsh hills. That's better. A little bit of shadow there, just make it look as if it's coming in a touch there like that. That's what happens when you talk. Let's get a little bit more yellow coming through. Let's increase the yellow again. Not enough. Increase the yellow. Touch of white. Just to change the value of that yellow, that greeny colour. That's it. See the difference by adding just the smallest amount of white? There's no detail over here. Normally I listen to some music, as I said, and I haven't got my headphones on today. Getting a little bit lighter as we come forward. A bit of light up there and that. Darker colour back in. And something at this distance is so far away, you can't see any detail, so it's just a block of colour really. I'm trying to get those colours to sit right. Getting a little bit of that bluey colour that we had into that grass like that. Maybe there's a little cloud somewhere casting a little shadow. We don't know. So we've got that little dip there that's just catching our eye. And we continue to bring this green into the next plane. So that's one plane there. So that's one plane. Remember we were talking about planes? Well, that's one plane. Just a little bit of moisture because my paint is not flowing as I want it to. Something like this I could sit here for hours and hours and hours to do, but I don't want it to be hours and hours and hours today. I want to try and keep it into a reasonable time. I think I'm in about 35 minutes so far. Normally I finish a painting by now for YouTube, but as I said to you before, I want to show you the process. It's important that you learn and you watch what I do, it distresses you as well. So what I'm going to do now, going back to one of my soft blending brushes, I'm just going to very lightly smooth that down like that. And I'm touching this canvas with a very, very light touch. I'm just blending that colour in like that. There we go. And you make sure you wash these because they get and with these blending brushes, I'll wash them every time I use them, and what I'll do is I'll dry them off with a bit of tissue paper like that, and then I'll get the hairdryer and I'll dry them with the hairdryer, ready for the next stage. But I'm not going to do that now. But talking about hairdryers, we're going to dry that section now. And again, what we do is we get some of our zinc mixing white, not titanium white this time. I'm going into zinc mixing white. And I'm going to make a very thin wash using my medium mix. That paint actually separated then. You could see the resin and the pigment separated, and if you squeeze a tube of paint out and it comes out clear, that's what's happened. Is for some reason that paint and resin is separated in the container or the pot or the tube that you're using. So don't worry about it, just mix it up with a palette knife or a brush and it'll be fine. Now we're going to mist this off now. I just hope I hope I've dried this enough to get that effect that I'm looking for. Just this little misty effect. Looks drastic, doesn't it? Looks drastic. Ooh, too much. There you go. As I said to you, don't worry if you've gone I need a blending brush. Alright, I use my buffing brush. There we are. Don't see that brush very often. Don't use him very often. Bit of mist. So if you've gone a little bit dark in the background, use a bit of zinc mixing white. Just a little tip. Use a little bit of zinc mixing white to knock that back for you. And seems like a lot of work for a little bit of background. You could do it easier, I suppose. You could find a better way of doing it, but you know, whatever works. And once you get used to working in a certain way, it's very difficult to change your approach. So again, I'm going to chuck that in the pot, and now I'm going to get my little short flat again. Now I'm going to get some yellow and I make this quite a brighter colour, because this could be a field of corn or something like that, and I want a little touch of green to it. Just using the colours. You can see I'm not using very thick paint. I don't like using thick paint. I quite like thinner paint. I want a nice bright colour. This is my next plane. This is my next plane. Could be some corn, or don't know. Don't quite know what's in there. Could be kale. Kale is a fantastic. I don't know. I'm going to need pictures of kale. But kale is an annual feed as well, and a lot of fields around us have got this bright yellow. You wouldn't believe how bright. And once, if I can find one, I'll take a picture of it and show you on another video, because I know there's no fields of kale around me at the moment, so I can't put them up unless I look on Google or something, see if I can find a picture. It's got to be royalty free, unfortunately, if I do that. because I can't use anybody else's photographs. There's another plane. See? Let's put a bit of red up there, a bit of yellow. I'm going to put a bit of... I can't do that because it's still wet. So let's just dry that a second. This is all underpainting at the moment, in case you're wondering. It's just all underpainting at the moment. I'm just going to put some flicks of orange on there. Trust me, it'll all work out. I hope it does. It'll all work out. This is all underpainting, and unfortunately with acrylics, you can do direct painting, but I thought, well, I'm just going to do this today. Because that's going to be obscured shortly anyway. It'll be, that'll disappear. Most of it will. I might even put another wash of zinc mixing white over that. I'm quite decided. Okay, so I'm leaving that. That's just underpainting, so I'm leaving that at the moment. What I'm going to do is get some ochre's green and some burnt umber together, because I want a nice dark colour, and I'm going to put in there some shadowy colours. There you go, like this. Again, it's just a block out. This is blocking out. We want to come in maybe down there like that. Find a shape. Just let your brush do brush shapes. There we go. How easy is that? How relaxing is this? You can see why I put the blue sky in now, because you can leave little pockets of light coming through. And the more brown you mix into the green, the darker that's going to get that. So you want a nice dark colour here, like this. So all we need to do now is just block in this green and that, so just have fun. This is the ugly stage really, and you'll notice that with most paintings, you'll get to a stage then you're thinking, oh, what a mess, but they always work. They always come together. If you've got to put in some black in, you've got to keep at it. Trust me, please don't. If you don't do anything else, just keep at it. These things will work out. But acrylics are horrible in one way because it can be so disturbing sometimes, and you're thinking, well, I'm really trying hard here, and it doesn't seem to be looking at anything. All I can see is blocks of colours on the canvas, you know. And just please, just keep at it, and use paints slightly thicker, use paints slightly thinner, and it will work. It will work. This is going to be quite a dark area there. I'm just going to draw a line across there because this helps me, and add a little bit of black in. Use burnt umber and ultramarine blue. A little bit of ultramarine blue in there actually. Use burnt umber and ultramarine blue for a natural black, because blacks are either browns or, you know, very very dark blues or very dark browns, not blacks. The colour black doesn't really exist, I don't think. But you know, we use black, don't we? Because it's handy. That's all we have to say. So I would say we've got another area of black coming in roughly there. I'm not going to go all the way up. I'm just going to push that in like that. Like that. Just so I know it's going to be there, because I'll forget. And I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea and clean my brushes, and I shall be back like that. And I'm back. Right, so I'm going to take this hat off. And it is raining out there now. It is raining. Now, everything is nice and dry. I've made myself a cup of tea. And so, what I was thinking of doing, I'm going to pick up a little Filbert brush. This is number 2, I think. And I'm going to put some more bushes and stuff there along this plane. So that's one plane. This is the second plane. This is the third plane. Now we're starting to understand things. So, okay, so I want this a little bit darker. And I'm just going to mix in a little bit of paint there, a little bit of yellow, like this. I don't want it too dark, but then again I don't want it too light. So I'm going to put that looks good. Just put a little bit of a distance effect like that. Looks nice, doesn't it? Right. We need this come down like that. Remember we said that little dip? And just all I'm doing is just rolling my brush around and just finding these edge shapes, because in nature these things are never perfect, so we've got to incorporate that. And I'm going to bring a little bit of that green in. Bring a little bit of that green into that field or whatever it is. We haven't decided yet. No, whatever it is we're doing. Let's get this rough looking edge. I'm gonna be very careful because I'm over an hour. I don't know. You're gonna get bored. But it doesn't matter. I've been asked for longer lessons, so this is definitely a longer lesson. There we go. Just listening to a report on the radio, actually. I went in to make myself a cup of tea, and I was, as I was waiting for the kettle to boil, there's this report to come on. I was listening to Radio 2, which is a UK channel, with Jeremy Vine. And he was saying that there's a report on now about the use of mobile phones and iPads and stuff after 10 o'clock at night. And there's a result. The results show that there's a possibility that it could result in mood swings and depressions and stuff like that because of the I don't know, must be because of the light coming off these devices and things. So they recommended you don't look at your iPhone or your iPad at least an hour before you go to bed. And it makes sense, really, doesn't it? Because even if you're watching a film and you go straight to bed, I can't do that. I've always taken time before I go on to bed to do something, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And yeah, they've said now that it can affect your mood swings and things like this. So I can understand that. I really can. So I'm just getting a bit of light on the top of these trees like this. What I tend to do is I'm going to get they're looking a bit flat. I want to get a little bit of sparkly stuff in there now. I don't like them. They look a bit flat. They do. So I need a little brush. Where's my brush gone? Right, okay, I found this angled. This is a bristle brush, and it's an angled bristle brush. I'm going to try this, see how it works. Same type of thing as we did with the stippling brush or the foliage brush that I got. I just want to get a little bit of texture in there. Like that. Don't know if it's working. It's okay. I'll do. It just makes it look a little bit more hedge-like. There we go, that's better. Let's get a bit more. Let's put a little bit of yellow ochre over that actually. Wonder what that'll look like. I'm making this up as I go along now. Maybe a little bit of white in that. So what I tend to do is after we do what we normally do, we go to the bathroom and clean our teeth and get everything ready and stuff like that, and there you go. I lie there and I think to myself, right, that's the day done. I have nothing to worry about. If there's anything to worry me, I'm not going to forget. I'm going to forget about that now until tomorrow, because there's nothing I can do about it, because I want to go bye-byes. And I clear my mind, absolutely clear your mind, completely clear it, and just don't think of nothing. Absolutely, just if it helps, just think of a black room. You're sitting in a black room, facing a black canvas, painting a black painting. That normally works for me. It does. I'm just going to put a little bit more, shadow in here. There you go. That normally works for me. And you fall asleep, and once you get used to doing that, it's really good, because you fall asleep and you sleep well, and you subconsciously you don't worry about stuff. And what we tend to do really is we worry too much about stuff. It's not really warranted, really. I think let's check that in there. So I'm going to get that short flat now. I'm going to pick up a bit of this yellow, and I'm going to put some yellow into this field like this. Don't worry about that bit, because there's going to be trees and stuff in there. I'm just going to bring a bit of colour across like this, and then when I wake up in the morning, I think to myself, right, new day, whatever the day is going to bring, I'm going to accept it, and if there's anything that I can do to rectify anything that day, if anything comes up, then I will act on it. If I can't, I'm not going to worry about it. And this is what you do, is be positive. And be mindful about things like that, because that's really, when you've got a clear mind like that, especially when you wake up in the morning and it's a new day, it's a fresh day, I'm not going to let anything worry me today. I'm just going to meet it head on, and I'm going to deal with it. and this is important. I'm going to put a bit of yellow ochre in there. Actually, it looks a bit of warmth in there. This grass is not just flat green, is it? It is there because it's so distant. But here we want a little bit of colour in, just to bring that to life maybe. And let's just bring that down. Let's get a nice yellow green now. I like this Hooker's green. It's quite a nice dark green. You can make a lovely green, mind you, with Mars Black and yellow. So don't worry about that. Let's just get a bit of green now. Slightly darker. And we'll bring that down there like that. Marry that in. How's it looking? Looking alright. I was just checking my cameras are recording because camera number 3 just decided to switch off because I hadn't plugged it into the power. Me and camera 3 have arguments all the time. I do. So yeah, so when you wake up in the morning, be positive and think, yep. And it's not always easy to be positive. I will accept this. It's not always easy to be positive, but once you get into that mindset of being positive, things will work out for you. So you've just got to be mindful. That's all I'm saying. Just got to be mindful. Do whatever works for you, but make your life easier. That's all I say. Just make your life a bit easier. I'm just blocking out and putting some patterns here and there like this. Still quite loose. A little bit of canvas showing through, doesn't matter. Or adds to the effect, I think. I think it does anyway. I'm going to darken that up a bit there. There you go. It's looking nice. Right, I'll put that brush down. Where's me a stippling brush? I'm going to use a stippling brush this side. I want to try this, see what this works like. Brown and ochre's green again. And I'm just going to push in this type of effect. I use this brush in funny ways sometimes because the angle of the camera, I should be sitting there, but I can't. So I sit on an angle. So sometimes for me to get the angle that I want on this brush, I got to use it like this. But that's not a bad thing because what happens is it encourages you to use things in a different way. So, again, don't be afraid by doing something unconventional. That's what I'm going to say. Don't be afraid by doing something unconventional because who knows, it might work. If it doesn't work, well, don't do it. But if it does work, well, you're winning. That's how I see it. I'll leave a little bit of light coming through the background, a bit darker here like this. The old masters used to use cauliflowers and stuff, doing trees. They used to, when they're painting in their studio, used to have cauliflowers and things. And you look at a couple of the paintings sometimes and you think, well, that looks like a cauliflower. And Jason and I found that out when we went to the Gallery in London, National Gallery, Art Gallery. Really lovely place to go. Gonna go there again this year. I'll persuade old Jason to meet up with me because I haven't seen him for 12 months. I talk to him every day, in fact. Most days I talk to Jason. Most days. But I've only actually physically met him once. He's a funny man. He's a lovely man. He really is. Got a heart of gold, old Jason. You really have. I'm going to put some. I wasn't going to, but I am going to put some. There, I think, like that. Just sweep that down like that. Yeah, looks good, doesn't it? That's quite a full tree, that one. And I'm just looking at it now. I'm wondering when maybe I should just bring a bit through branches out here and there like this. Just play. Could be a couple of trees actually, couldn't it? That looks a little bit more in keeping. You'd be surprised what's there. I need to put that in the water. I need to mix some. This is blue-green, so let's get some of this blue-green down here like this. I tell you what, this is going to be a long video. Yes, so don't forget to click that subscribe button. I upload every Monday at 7:30 Greenwich Mean Time, which is London time in fact. And I have all different types of lessons. All different types of lessons. Some are quick and some are slow, and some are just plain old boring. But I'm a happy chap, and I really do enjoy. I don't know why I'm putting this blue here. I really do enjoy painting in the studio with you lovely subscribers, and it's part of my life now, and I wouldn't know what to do actually with myself if I didn't have art in my life. You know, it's playing a big part. It's playing a big part in my life. I think before I go any further, I'm gonna just put my brush down a second. I'm gonna pick up a detailing brush. I'm gonna go into some burnt umber, because I want to put a focal point or something in here now, and I've got to work out. This is just an outline. I can colour it in properly later on. So we're gonna put a post there and another post there like that. I'm just using this colour. This is not the final thing. I'm just using this colour just to find the shapes that I need, and that's going to disappear into there. Let's use a little bit of moisture. I want to get this across like that. I'm going to put a gate in here. I'm going to put a 4-bar gate in, I think. Now 4 bars or 6 bars. I don't know what the difference is besides for 2 bars. There must be a reason why there's only 4 bars, and there must be a reason why there's 6 bars, but I don't know. I worked on a farm when I was a yard. We used to go out in the fields and collect bales of hay and stuff like that, and we'd work there and we'd have a cheese and pickle sandwiches, and the farmer's wife used to come out and bring us some orange squash or lemon squash or whatever squashes she had. And now, you know, that's just a straight gate. Now the gates I know have got a bar across, got like a little cross like that, so I'm going to put that in, because you've got to have something to hold these up, because otherwise they're going to flop about everywhere, aren't they? They're not going to be very strong without that, cross members like that. Yeah, she was a wonderful wonderful wife, farmer's wife. She used to always look after us, and we've let's put that one on a bit of a wonk. There we are. It's just blown over a little bit, maybe in the wind. Just adds a little bit of character, I think. And then we'll put some bars across like that as well, I think. Yes, I can remember going out and doing that. I was only about, it was only about £2 or £3 for the day, I think, but that was quite a lot of money then, I imagine. And I worked in fields picking potatoes. That was a hard job. Dear me. We used to call it spud picking. My mother used to go that. She used to do spud picking. And we used to, the farmer would go down the field with the tractor and ploughing all these potatoes out of the ground. And we used to follow along then, literally like this, picking them up, putting them in bags or into our baskets or whatever we had. And we do that all day. And that was fun. Not. That was quite a lot of work, in fact. It really was. Okay, so we've got a gate there. And you can see the size of this tree now, because we've put a gate in. And that's giving it a little bit of height and dimension to it, I think. We don't want a big gate. I could have made that gate that big, but that would have made the tree that small. So we don't want that. We want to try and give it a little bit of distance as well. So that's going to be further away from this plane then. So we've got that plane, this plane. We've worked on this plane. Now we're going to do the foreground plane, which is, I'm just going to block that in. And then I can proceed then to play around with texture marks and things like that. Bring a little bit of life to this area, because everything is looking a little bit flat at the moment. But like I said, this is a process. It just takes time. I want to get a little bit of darker paint. And I'm just going to literally just do this type of stuff. Because that road can be coming down and you wouldn't see it because it's going to disappear in there somewhere. So I'm just going to plop in some green like this. We'll put a bit more colour in that in a second. I love working with acrylics. Makes me laugh, makes me smile, makes me sad sometimes. Why? Because it can be quite emotional actually. Get a bit of yellow. You can get quite emotionally drawn into a painting. It's amazing really the emotions it can actually provoke in you as an artist. And once you start doing that, then life becomes a little bit more enjoyable as regarding to your artwork. I mean now, not life in general, but it can be a little bit more enjoyable then, and you can really start to appreciate. You can really start to appreciate the art and the work that you were putting in, and when you're looking back at the work you've done, and you can see the change that you've managed to do. And don't beat yourself up. I should have painted that in there actually. I'm gonna just leave that little blotch. I'm gonna blotch that out in a second with a little bit of that colour, just to make it look as if the road is actually down there. Maybe perhaps we're on a field looking down, maybe, you know. That's my excuse to not to paint the road. I'm just blotching the colour like this and be loose and free and carefree and happy. And who cares? There's no care in the world when you're painting. Just let your mind run free and listen to your headphones and let the music. Paint to the music sometimes. Paint to the music. If you've got a fast bit of music, paint fast. If you've got a slow bit of music, paint slow. Put the emotions you were listening to onto canvas. There you go. Well, we get in there, I think. I'm going to pick up this brush. I'm going Just paint in that colour like that. Doesn't have to be 100% accurate because we're going to be putting other things on top of this now in a second, but it's just allowing that to come through maybe. There we go. Let's get a bit of this colour now and just bring in some bit of dry brush work. There you go. I told you that was just a guide, so I'm just trying to lighten this road off a bit. We can re-establish our gate. We know where it is now. That could be wet, couldn't it? It could be wet. Perhaps there's a puddle or something there, I don't know. Perhaps it hasn't long rained. Perhaps it hasn't long rained and there's a little puddle and stuff there. Get a bit of burnt umber and just put some mud in there. Let's just get some mud. It's coming down because this could be a dirt track, couldn't it? Just building up those layers. Let's put a bit of soil over there. There's always a little bit of mud showing somewhere, isn't there? The farmer's been going through there and it's been splashing up, and that gives me an idea. I wonder if we could get a bit of burnt umber and a bit of black, and let's put some tracks in maybe. Coming up wider, and they're disappearing into that road there, and then they go off to the distance there like that. Not what I had planned, but it's a work in progress. What I want now is I got a little fan brush here, and I'm going to mix a little bit of white over here and a bit of yellow ochre, maybe a bit of yellow to that. I want to try and put a little bit of texture in. Maybe want a bit of darker colour as well. There's little bits of whatever that is in there. Let's get a bit more white to that. And again, let's just put some bits of little, I don't know, perhaps it's just flowers and things, who knows. Could be just flowers there. That gives me an idea for the front actually. Perhaps it's just flowers. Perhaps it's a meadow the farmer's just letting go feral. And it's just allowing us to bring a little bit of light in at the same time then, I think. There's a sparkle up a couple of areas there. I just want to add a little bit brighter there, because we said we're trying to get our eye to go into the background, aren't we? So I'm wondering whether I might spoil this now, but I hope not. Very, very lightly brushing in a little bit of I'm bringing this down on an angle to that point, and I'm going to bring it down a little bit there as well. There we are. Just to drag that eye in. To there like that. There you go. Now we got that distance, and we got that eye pulling in to this point. Hopefully, if you can see that, I'm hoping that's what's happening. Okay, so am I happy with that? I'm okay with that for the moment. Let's increase this black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, white colour. There we go. Bit of everything in that. Let's now strengthen up our gate. And you've a lot of you have been sending me fantastic emails and comments lately, and asking me for critiques and stuff. And I don't like doing critiques, but you know, if you're stuck with something, then I will certainly try and help you. But I was criticised so much when I was younger, and I really don't like critiques. I like positive critiques, don't get me wrong. You know, Jason critiques my work all the time. And we help each other out a lot. But I find it difficult to critique other people's works. As I was always critiqued when I was younger, and it can be quite damaging sometimes when somebody says something about maybe something you've done and you've worked hours and hours and hours on, and you think, oh no, I disagree with that, I don't like that. But when you ask for a critique, you've really got to be open for anything. And it's not easy you can't be nice with a critique, you've got to be honest. And some people can't take honesty for some reason. So when your work is critiqued, it's not meant to be damaging in any way, but you can take offence by it. Offence. I'll have to zoom in on that and do a painting just on the fence, won't I? That'd be fun. Perhaps we can do that one day. So perhaps I'll just zoom in on our fence, but then I'll say this. I'm going to paint this fence a bit close up. There's a bloke walking across a farmer's field one day, and the farmer said, "Hey, get off my land." He said, "No, I'm entitled to be on your land." So he took his gun and he shot him. And he didn't kill him, he just shot him. And anyway, he went to court, and the judge said, "Mr. Partridge," he said, "I understand that Mr. Jones was walking across your land, and you took offence to that." And he said, "Yes, because he was trespassing." He said, "Well, you know, you shouldn't have shot him. That's grievous bodily harm. You know, even though it was your land, you shouldn't have done that." He said, "You know, did you shoot him in defence?" He said, "No, I shot him on the bum and he flew over defence." Oh, there we go. Just a little bit of highlight there like that. I don't know. Maybe we'll wait for that to dry off a little bit. Maybe do a bit more then. Yeah. I'll just leave that dry a little bit. It looks a ramshackle old fence, gatey fence thing. Okay, now I'm just looking at that now and I'm thinking, yeah, that's okay. It's not too bad. That looks quite muddy and blech. That's good. But we're going to bring some bright colours in here in a second. I think I'm going to concentrate on. There's going to be a big bush there, of sorts, but I want to concentrate on a tree. So there's two ways we can do this. I'll start off with one way, and then we'll proceed then to the next way of doing it. So we put that on with one of these little brushes. So what I'm going to do is let's get some yellow over there. I'm going to need a bit of yellow, and I need some of this Hooker's green. Might have to get some more green after, I expect. I'm going to mix like a medium tone colour. There we are. Brush is quite overloaded, but it doesn't matter. Right, that's okay. So we want to put in, just moving the brush around like this. Very lightly, very loosely. There we go. Don't kill all that dark. Don't kill all that dark. Very, very loosely. Very, very loosely. And don't forget that this is going to dry darker. When you're working with greens, no, I got a terrible colour. I got a terrible problem with greens because I'm colourblind. And I find it very difficult working with greens, but I've, over the years, been challenged to do landscapes and things, and I'm getting better at seeing certain shades of green. I hope, as long as I'm not painting this blue, I'm alright. I want to bring this, I want to maintain that dark in there. I'll do a different effect down here now. And I'm going to maintain some of that dark. Don't want to kill it all because that's your shadows that's in the trees. I've struggled terrible with greens, I really do. Not too worried about down by there. Try brushing in now. That's okay. Just try brushing in. Maybe I should zoom one of the cameras in. Which camera shall I zoom in? Let's have a look. Let's try camera. Let's try this camera 2. Right, I've zoomed camera 2 in a little bit. I'm hoping that can I just looking at my camera, making sure you can see that. I got camera 3 connected to my monitor, which I check. Not camera 2. The reason I got camera 3, which is that one, hello camera 3, hello, is because I normally get my shoulder like that in the shot. You notice some of the paintings I'm doing this, and you can't see what I'm doing, so that's the only reason I got a monitor there. And I'm always looking. It's camera 3 and me are not friends. Put a little bit of colour there, near there. Can you see that's two layers. I'll work on that one after. But this particular layer I want to come up around there like that. So I'm just going to put that in loosely, because I know where it is then. It'll all come together, I promise. I hope it does. Right, let's try this out. And again, same brush, same green, but we're just going to lighten the green up. We're going to put a bit of yellow ochre into it. Lighten the green up. Yep, that's what I'll do. Right, let's get and we got to be careful what I'm doing here now. I've got to think. Just very, very lightly bring in. This effect. This is one way of doing a tree. You can do them in many ways. It's basically all the same. It's just building up tones and things. Oops, too much. It's just got massive leaves and things in there like that. There's no easy way of doing something like this. It can take ages and ages and ages. There is no easy way. Well, that's a lie actually. There is a simpler way of doing it, which I will move on to down here now and show you. This is a little bit more distant, and we can use that effect then onto this if we want to. Let's brighten that up a bit. If you're going a little bit light, there's a way of doing this you can go over it with a glaze of colour if you want to. There you go. So there's one possible way of doing a tree. The light is coming obviously this way, so we need to put a little bit more light in. But by far my favourite way of doing trees is by using these foliage brushes that I sell on the website. These are available, and I'm going to use the smallest one of my foliage brushes there, and all you need to do really is just get some paint straight onto a dryish type of brush, and you've seen me doing this before. And it makes life a little bit easier. I'm going to put some more paint on my palette in a minute. You can get these effects then quite realistic looking, he says. I'll have to get some more paint on my palette. In fact, I'll do that now. Okay, so that was one way of doing that tree. What I'm going to try and do now is I'm just going to improve that tree a little bit by bringing in, and just get the colours right. This gives me headaches sometimes. A little bit of texture. So all that work we've done now is for nothing really, but I just wanted to show you a couple of different ways of doing it. Same principle, all you're doing is just different tones of paint. And it's better to do this in between, dry it in between, because you won't get that bleed so much then. Okay, I got the idea. I got roughly where I want things to be now. So I'm going to continue with this dark colour, and I'm going to put some. I'm going to put some yellow ochre down here. It'll all work out now. Trust me. Bleed that straight into some green. It's just picking up straight ochre's green now. I want us to all merge the colour together. hopefully you can see the effect. I'm hoping you can see the effect that I'm trying to get there. Again, I'm going to go over to this side now, and excuse my arm. Some more yellow on my palette in a second, I think. Thinking of shape where that light is going to catch. So this is a much better way I found of doing foliage than the first bit I actually showed you. I quite like this way of doing it. I'm just going to add a little bit of white to that now, and I'm putting paint on, but I'm taking paint off a little bit as well, just to. I just want to sparkle up a little bit of light in there now. There you go. Just gives it a little bit of a bright spot. This is brighter there. I'm going to put some yellow onto my palette. And I'm using quite a lot of paint today. A bit of white, a bit of yellow. Let's catch the light just a little bit on this tree there, like that. Maybe it's a bit of light just catching that edge there. I want to get this hooker's green and black. I want to put some more shadow in. I'm going to let that dry in a minute. I want to get some green. Yeah, it's starting to overblend a bit now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to R5 and dry this off really, really well. Wash my brushes, stand back and have a look at it, and I can assess it from there then. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot more time now on this, because on this area here, I just want to get this finished, to be honest with you. I've added a couple of little white spots here and there, just because I want to pick up a little bit of detail and stuff in there, like that. And I think I'm going to go into more of a yellowy type of green now, and just come down like this, just bring in a bit of that yellow colour, like that. Just add a little bit of green in there. This is going to be obscured by with flowers and grasses and things, so I just want to bring a bit of this colour down. Just make out a few shapes like that. It's just a mix match of branches and leaves and all this undergrowth. Really, it's just a master colour, really, isn't it? Okay. Where does your eye take you? Dirty, dirty. Okay, I think that'll do for what I want to do there now. I'm happy with that. Otherwise we could be here for hours and 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 hours, which we nearly are. I'm picking up a bit of this brown and black. I've got a strip lining brush. I'm just going to use some plain water for this. And I'm just going to put in a few branches. They're just poking the leads out from the tree. Maybe got a long branch sticking out there like that. Oh my goodness, another branch coming in. Like that. That's what happens when you don't think too much sometimes. You just gotta let the brush do what it wants to do. And practice this on. You can practice this. Just keep practicing with the script lining brush. You'd be surprised with the shapes you'll find. Could put a branch, a trunk in there, can we, like that? It just adds a little bit of life to these things. It's not just blotches of paint then. Add a bit of white. Let's get a lighter colour. Got to decide where we're going to put these things now. Maybe just a little few flecks here and there. Don't know what they are, but there's something in there. Could be brambles and stuff. I don't know. Could be brambles and stuff, but it just adds a little bit of life to that. What we could do is get a little bit of white on the tip of our brush, and we'll work down here in a minute. Let's put a few sheep in the field. Because Wales, a lot of sheep in the field. Yeah, just the smallest amount of black on the tip of my brush. Not too much, I hope. Just tiny little dots. Tiny, tiny, tiny. There's a couple of lambs in there. There you go. Keep welcoming the hillside. There's a lot of sheep in that field. Could be a couple of cows as well, but we won't paint cows. Let's just get a bit of mud. Oops, too much. Bit of mud there. Just to edge that off. Bit of grass. Always grass and stuff growing around these things. We've really got to start working on the foreground now, I think. I think that's an important part because I'm going to be running out of time seriously otherwise. Okay, so I'm going to use just this short flat for this. We need some nice light green for this. Loading my brush. I'm just going to put in some leaf shape type things like that. Let's get a bit of blue on. Let's get a bit of blue in there. Just make lines like that. Bit of blue, bit of yellow. You know, just get those. All you're looking for is something to represent maybe grasses and leaves and who knows what. Who knows what. Yeah, just get a line like this. It's more of that bluey colour. In there like this. Get some dark, get some light. Just mix up. Oh, there's so many bits of grass and stuff here. It's hard to pick out what's what. Oh, we're in another field, maybe. Maybe that's where we are. Back into some grass shapes. I might want to have something to eat now, I'm starving. I was going to go do a quick painting today and everything. Some more for that. Get some yellow. I'm just mixing colours up as I go along now. Let's get some white over there. It's amazing, isn't it, when you start using different colours and how things will just look grass-like. And paintings really are meant to be viewed from a distance anyway, and the type of paintings I paint are not really, I would say, photorealistic in any way, shape or form, and I never intend them to be. I never intend them to be like that. I never have. So anyway, we got enough with that type of brush now. I'm going to put that brush in there. Now I'm going to pick up my script lining brush that we did the leaves and stuff on. And again, using the same type of colours, I'm just going to put thinner lines in like this. And this is where the fun begins. In this is where we can start having fun. This is my favourite part of the painting, just before it is finished, and then we can start putting some details in and stuff like this. I enjoy this so much. Get some of that blue colour back in, yeah. Wow. Let's get some dark green, a little bit of black, and now let's put some, let's see if we can get that to stand out a little bit there. Maybe there, 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 there. Maybe there. There's one there. There's another one there. We can put another one like that, and then we have a couple of bits and pieces here. Maybe there, there, there. Out. Wow, now we're starting to come, I think. We're seeing the wood for the trees, or the plants for the flowers. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's just get some white. I think white, smallest amount of green, a bit of ultramarine blue. Look at that, we got like violety green blue colour. I don't know what colour that is, but I've just made it up. Just put a bit more blue to it. That's nice. Oops, let's put a couple of spots here and there like this. There you go. I don't know what they are. Could be anything really. There you go. Yellow. Let's find a spot for my yellow. There. Put some white to it. Because I want to make it opaque. And we can put a blotch of yellow there. And we can put another blotch of yellow there. We can put a blotch of yellow there, like that. Put another little one there. Like that. I'm going to put another one. Where can we put another one? We put another one there. I'm going to put a couple. Bump. 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 I'm trying to tick all the boxes in one painting here. I want to know how to paint a tree. I want to know how to paint grass. I want to know how to paint flowers. I'm trying my best to do everything. And let's just hope it works. As I think you can see what I'm starting to do now. I need another detail brush, so I'm going to pick up some white. I've been using these detail brushes for portraiture, and I've lost the shape on them. But right, okay, let's just get in and let's just put some petals on these daisies. These are daisies, by the way. These are daisies. There's a lot of daisies. I'm putting some of that white, that yellow is across it. It's not good. It's not good. I'm going to have to dry that off, I think. Let's put a bit of... That's better. Yeah, they're a bit thick. So what I want to do now, I want to get a nice thing in there like that. I'm going to get some alizarin crimson on my little brush, and I'm just going to put a few blotches in like this. Oh, these are going to be nice. Got a bit of red against the green. Looks really nice, in fact. Let's get these a bit bigger down here now. There you go. Let's get a bit of white to that crimson. You can bit pink. Too much, too much, too much, too much. Just wants flecks of pink on these. These could be foxgloves or something. There you go. Let's get a bit of highlight on those. We can make a part of that a little bit whiter actually, couldn't we? There you go. I'm doing some cadmium red just to change things up a bit there. Picking up that alizarin crimson now and just playing with the flowers. We could put one there, and we could put another one there like that. We could put another one there, put another one there like that. Maybe one there. We're going to some cerulean blue. A little story of a sheep. The sheep in the field by there, see him by there. He was so happy one day. He was really happy, and he was saying to his mother, he said, "Mummy," he said, why can't we go into that other field, Mummy?" "Oh," she said, it's nice here. The grass is nice and green, it's lush. The farmer comes out and he brings us other bits of food as well," she said, "and this is the field," she said. It's a wonderful place to live. She said, "Don't go in the other field, there's no point. But grass is always greener that side, Mummy. It's always greener over there. Don't be fooled by that," she said. "Don't be fooled. Grass is only green where we eat it," she said. "Yeah, but look at the grass over there, Mummy. It's so nice." Anyway, the time went on, and this little sheep decided, well, I'm not happy in this field. I want to go to the other field. And he found a little gap in the fence by there. He found a little gap in the fence by there, he did. And there was other sheep in this field, but they'd only come and go. Sometimes they'd be there for a couple of days, sometimes they'd be there for a couple of weeks, and other times there'd be no sheep at all. And he was always wondering, where them sheep gone? I bet they're having fun times. I bet they're playing in the grass somewhere else, and that grass looks so lush and green. Anyway, this one particular day, this little sheep broke his way through the fence, and he joined the other sheep in this field over there. And he was enjoying his food. Wow, what fantastic grass. Mummy was wrong. This grass is absolutely fantastic. There's been extra food left for us. It is wonderful. Wonderful. Mummy, I'm gonna go see Mummy, and I'm gonna tell her how wonderful the grass is. Anyway, before we could do that, down the old track here, the farmer trundled. He opened the gate, and he trundled into the field, and a big trailer on the back. And the little sheep looked, and he thought, "Ooh, the farmer's going to come and take us for a little ride and take us to another field where we can eat to our heart's content and play around and bounce in the sun." So the farmer looked at the sheep, and he thought, there's more sheep here than I thought. I thought I only put 10 sheep in this field, and there's 11 sheep. Oh well, perhaps I've miscounted. And he continued then to load the sheep onto the back of the trailer, and off he trundled. But what the little sheep didn't realise was Mummy was right, because grass is not always greener on the other side of the fence. And the farmer pulled up to the slaughterhouse and unloaded the little sheep, and off they went to another part of their lives. And the moral of our story is, grass is never greener on the other side of the fence. It's only green where you water it. And the farmer got really upset when he went back to the far field and found out his favourite little sheep had gone. And then he realised that he didn't miscount the sheep. It's just the sheep had found a way into the other field. There you go. Those are the type of stories my mother used to tell me when I was a kid, and used to frighten me to death before I went to sleep. There you go. So just building the flowers up. I gotta think of things to talk about when it's taking me so long to do paintings like this. So we got some cornflowers, we got some foxgloves, we got daisies which we're waiting to dry. So let's put another foxglove in here. Blue and green go really well together, and there's a little bit of orange there in that field there, so the blue is going to offset that. And just put some foxglovey shapes in like that. And there's my orange. I didn't want orange. I wanted did pink. Oh, talk too much now. There we go. Just put some easy flowers on this lovely background there like that. We could get some ultramarine blue and put in some bluebells like that. Let's give him a stalk. There you go. Looks good. Let's get some pure white and just put some white in there like that. I don't know what they are. Okay, let's try and do some daisies now. I ruined this brush. They could be daisies that have they are now. They haven't bloomed yet. These are big daisies, these ones. Oh, this is turning into a long painting. But I'm just going to put a few more little tiny daisies here and there. I'll put a couple over there. It's a bit of fun. I love this painting. Let's get a bit of yellow there. Tell you what we have got around with me is buttercups. So they like daisies, but they're all yellow. So we'll put a few buttercups in. Like this. Just to break things up a bit. Let's get some more. Well, I had that lovely pink, didn't I? Rosum crimson, Rosum crimson. And some white. And let's put some I don't know what these are, but they could be anything really, can they? Suppose it could be foxgloves, I don't know. Just adds a bit of colour. Just little blotches of colour really, because when you stand back, what I realised was when I was walking around the National Gallery and stuff like that, and you actually come really close to a painting and you think, wow, there's very little detail in it really, because paintings are meant to be viewed from a distance, and we forget that when we paint in, because we work in so close to it, and you think you know, you lose that, whatever it is, that viewing capability. That sometimes you've got to walk away, and you've really got to walk away from it and look at it from a distance, because you'll find that it works out a lot nicer, and when you're sitting close to it like this, you lose a little bit of that. You get blinded, and I call it snow blind or paint blind. You can get paint blind, and you're trying to correct things that really you don't need to correct, because at a distance it looks fine. Close up it looks terrible, or it can do. But when you're away from something, it looks a lot better. So always bear in mind. Now you could go on and on and on and on and on. We could put in loads of different things in here. we could get some of this yellow ochre and we could put, I don't know, maybe little seed pods. Like that could be a piece of grasses or something like that. We could put grasses in. Grasses. You've seen the seeds on grasses. When grass grows to seed, it has these little pod things, little grains that stick out the grass like that. You can put some of them in there. You could mix a bit of that with the yellow. There we are. Let's put a bit of yellow ochre and yellow together. Get a lighter colour. Stick your finger in the red paint while you're at it. That always helps. And this brush is terrible. You get those little seed heads that inevitably you will have in grasses and things like that. Put a few of them in just to break stuff up. What I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to get myself this is what I was looking for. This is what they call a sword brush. It looks pretty poor at the moment. Once you wet that a bit, I really should put some. This is good stuff. You can get a little bit of gum arabic like that. Get a little bit of gum arabic. Just put some things. Just put a little bit on your fingers like that. Just spread it through your paintbrushes, and what it'll do, it'll help you keep the shape of the paintbrush, because that actually should look like that. It should look like that, but it doesn't. So I'm going to mix some green up, and these things are lovely for grasses and leaves. Let's get a little bit of darker green in there. You can get some lovely leafy shapes coming through. That's all we want, is this grass to come through like this. I'm going to be wrapping this up shortly, I think, so please like, comment, share, subscribe to the video, or to the channel I should say, and give me a thumbs up. That's always handy. If you like what you've seen today, leave a comment in the comment box. If you want any questions or you're stuck on anything, just give me a shout. And I want to thank Studio for the gift that they've sent me, which are those fantastic headphones. And the links are above in the iCards there if you want to pop along and see the video that I did purposely for Studio. But this video has been sponsored by those today, and this is why it's a little bit longer, and I want to thank them for allowing us to do that. With their support, it's brought a little bit more pleasure to you subscribers, because it's allowed me to do a little bit of extra work, spend a little bit of extra time in the studio with Studio in the studio with Studio. It's just helped us to work together a little bit longer today. So what I'm going to do is just touch up a little bit here and there and here. I'm going to get a little bit of black on the tip of my brush, and I'm just going to put a little bird flying in the sky like that. We'll put 3 in, I think, today. There you go. So we've got the sheep in the backfield. Give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe. I upload every Monday, as I said, at 7:30. But until then, enjoy the painting, have fun, and I will see you on the next lesson. Bye.
With our friend Clive. So grab your brush, have a great time, and don't forget to click subscribe.